What's up, children? Okay, so I decided, first of all, I said I would try to start recording earlier in the sun, or earlier in the day when the sun's up, and the sun is up, and now I am recording. Second of all, I told my friend Grace that I'd do it topless, so now I am topless, if you cannot see. There we go. Um, Today I'm gonna have a rant about the school system and why I think it's the shittiest thing on earth. Okay, I'm not gonna go as far as to say that all of education is retarded and makes no absolute sense and it's technically pointless when you think about it. But I'm gonna go as far as to say that America's school system is ridiculous. That thing needs to be set ablaze, thrown away, and then start over. I'm talking about full rage, anarchy, just trash it and then start over. Okay, I'm gonna start working under a couple of assumptions here, and I'm gonna assume that I'm gonna piss a couple people off, but that's completely okay because I don't care. It's not like I'm gonna meet those people anyways. But I have my own thoughts, and like there's this whole like thing in the Constitution where it's like I have some type of right that I can express those thoughts, even though they may sound completely insane to you, but that's completely okay. So first of all, we're gonna work under the assumption that there are people who can do and then people who can't teach. You ever heard of that before? Like people who can do something, they end up doing it because they can still do it, and those people who can't do it end up teaching other people how to do it. So let's work under that assumption first of all. All right. So what's school? School is a bunch of teachers, people who teach, or people who can't do or make, or they aren't successful in the field that they're teaching, so they're teaching other people. So for example, cooking. If you could cook, you would be in a restaurant and you would be cooking food for other people. If you couldn't cook, then you would be teaching other people to cook, and then that's you understand what I'm saying? Like that's the point I'm trying to make. So here we go. You have an establishment of teachers. Basically, you have an establishment of people who cannot do what it is that they're teaching. They're simply teaching. They're regurgitating information that they were taught and that they fell short in actually being able to do, and they're teaching that to people. So when you think about it, you go to school to learn half-ass information to be mediocre at a bunch of topics that will never help you out for the rest of your life. Okay, elementary school, you need that because you need to learn how to read and you need to learn how to write and basic literacy, like so that gets a pass. Besides the fact that like you learn like basic history, math, English skills, science skills, it's technically babysitting. The only thing it accomplishes is it teaches how to read and teaches how to write. So it's okay. It has some type of point. Middle school, it's more or less babysitting. Like, what is it you really do? Like, you just learn math again, you learn English again, you read a bunch of books, which I like. I love that portion, but I'm just saying, like, for the most people, like, if you take a typical person, like, that's a waste of time. Like, what are you learning? You're learning nothing. Then what happens? You go after middle school, you go to high school, and then that's even a bigger waste of time because it's like you're doing the exact same things you did in middle school, except maybe slightly more in depth. Like, if I went back and I took a class on history in middle school, and I took the entire class, and then I went to my high school and I took all the tests in that class based on the same information I learned in middle school, I'm pretty sure I would get an A because it's not like history changes between like eighth grade and like ninth grade. It doesn't like it's not like the fact that like Abraham Lincoln helped to like abolish slavery isn't gonna fucking change when I go to the ninth grade. Like nothing's gonna change. So middle school is a waste of time. High school is a waste of time. When like and it's like so you're spending like okay 3 years, seven, six, fifth grade, sixth grade is the first year, six, seven, eight. That's 3 years wasted in middle school and then 4 years wasted in high school when you could have easily been doing something way more productive. Like I'm not exactly sure what you would be doing as like someone that young. Maybe you'd get like a job or you'd pick up like some type of trade or something. But school is a waste of time. You don't learn anything. People end up graduating from high school and then doing nothing. People end up graduating from college and they end up doing nothing. So it doesn't make any sense to me. Okay, that's the first part. The second half, college is the biggest scam like I have ever heard in my life. You're paying someone to give you like you're paying someone to learn information, and then you're like it doesn't make sense for someone like for you to give someone money for them to teach you a subject, and on top of that not only teach you that subject but tell you that you're shitty at that subject. So you're like worst case scenario, like you're giving someone money to give you an F. And obviously like you need to do that because you need like okay like without a degree or without a high school diploma you can't get a job anywhere. So you can't get a job anywhere with a high school diploma. So without that you're posed. So on top of that, if you don't have a bachelor's degree in basket weaving, you're definitely not going to get a job anywhere. So you have to, like, there's these hoops that you have to jump through in order to make money, because you need money to survive. If you don't have money, you're going to be poor. And obviously, if you're poor, you can go to homeless shelter, and like you could, there's ways around, because there's homeless people all over the place and they don't ever die. Like, they just keep living. When you think about it, like, the purpose of a teacher is to teach a subject that that they're shitty at. Like, that's what their purpose is. If you have a professor that is teaching you a subject that they're still actively working in the field, like a lot of science teachers, like they teach science, like let's teach like organic chemistry or something, like they're teaching a subject and yet they're still active in their field, like they're actually doing something, they're making progress in their field, like they're doing something that's completely passive. Like, those teachers are fantastic. There's always a few teachers in high school that, like, they're passionate about what they're teaching, and that's great. Like, I love those teachers. Those are my favorite teachers. But I'm saying, like, not all teachers are like that. You'll have one good teacher for every 20 shitty teachers that there are. And that's BS. Because all it is, when you think about it, is like job security. Let's say you have 10 people, let's say you have 20 people who are all trying to learn how to be cooks, and only 2 of those 20 people actually know how to cook. What happens to the other 18 people? The 2 people that know how to cook, they go to a 5-star restaurant, and like they spend their lives cooking. They spend their lives being happy because they picked a career that they were good at, and they could actually function correctly in their field. But then you have 18 people who learn the material, and yet they're still shitty at it. So what do you do with those people? Those people become teachers. Like, assuming that, like, you become a cook, you can't get a job, like, I don't know, like creating medication. Like, you can't get a job anywhere else. So what those people do? They teach. So what are their options? Like, okay, I was a part of the group of 18 who was a terrible cook. So that means I have to either 1, become homeless, 2, do a job I don't like, or 3, take up a job teaching the work that I couldn't do. It doesn't make any sense. Like, it just sounds pointless to have like someone teaching you who is terrible in their field. It just pisses me off. And I say this knowing, like, damn well that at some point I might become a teacher, and I hope to God I don't become a terrible teacher, because if I do, I'd probably kill myself. Because it makes no sense. It makes no logical sense. I don't know. That was my rant. I think school's a scam. It just seems like a lot of parts of it, like, pointless. Like the people, and then on top of that, like, your teacher has so much control over your grade, it's retarded. Like, they literally dictate on a day-to-day basis what kind of grade you're gonna get. God forbid they wake up on the wrong side of the bed and you would just turn in some type of exam or no, not even exam. Exams are completely safe. Like, you either know the material or you don't, and that's the easiest way to ensure your grade is if you know the material, you take the test and you do good on the test. You get an A, she can't give you an F. You're completely safe. But God forbid you write a paper and she doesn't like the way you write. She said she doesn't like the way, for any reason. It doesn't even have to be the way you write. She just doesn't like you. She can give you a bad grade on it just simply because. And okay, like, yeah, there's like ethical codes that, like, you can't do that, like, because you have to give a teacher, like, you have to give a student what they've earned or whatever. But as well as I do, that teachers do not fly by those rules at all. They do whatever they want because they're all on power trips. 99%, 90%, not 99. 10% leaves enough room for, like, those amazing teachers that you love. But it just doesn't make any sense. It makes no sense. And it's all hoops. Like, everything in life is a hoop. Like, you just have to jump through one hoop to get to another hoop to jump through, to get through another hoop to hump. Like, it's continuous. Like, you're always doing it. And it doesn't make any sense to employ people who don't care about the subject that they're teaching, first of all, who are terrible at the subject that they're teaching. And third of all, not only are they terrible at the subject they're teaching, they're spreading that terribleness. They're, like, encouraging the expansion of terrible, like, just awful information. Like, you can't, it makes no sense to be taught something half-ass. Like, that's pointless. But that's my rant, at least on school. Oh, in addition to the half-nakedness, I told Gracie that I would talk about the dates that we were supposed to go on. So I will be somehow creating poetry and collecting flowers and arranging them in a particular fashion to make them look like as most attractive to her as possible, and then there would be some type of wooing involved in order to like make her desperately yearn and lust, desperately yearn and lust for me. I think she likes girls, so it's not gonna happen. But still, it's like that's the plan. So yeah, I ended up talking about it. So there you go. But I don't know. School's a joke. You have to do it. You have to get a degree. Like you have to get a bachelor's minimum. You have to get a bachelor's degree, and then after that, you have to get a master's degree or whatever comes next. It's a joke. You have to deal with BS. You have to jump through a bunch of hoops that makes no sense. But you still have to do it. Like it's a joke, but you still have to do it. Like it's garbage. That makes no sense. There should be like other choices. I mean, obviously there's other choices like a trade school. Like you learn how to like plumb, like a plumber. You know, like they go and they pick plums. No, like an actual plumber. Like, there's trade schools, but it's just, I don't know. That's all school is. School is just an excuse to employ people who are half-ass at the careers that they're pursuing. Straight and simple. And if I end up becoming that, like which I probably will, because I want to write and I want to be like an author, and I want to do something productive with my literature. Like I want to create stories that are touching. But if that falls through, I'll probably become a teacher, and I'll be complaining about the same shit that I'm complaining about right now. I will become the epitome of what I hate right now. I think that sentence was constructed well. But yeah, that's my spiel. I figured I'd do that before I start my stupid essay. But this is a juice box. These are terrific. Fruitables. They're not even like solid brand, but they taste delicious. I don't know. That's basically all I had to say. I'm sure I'll end up posting again tonight, but I'm trying to post off as often as I can, which is hard. But it's gonna be easier though in the summertime. But yeah, we'll see though. Thanks for listening.